Hey folks, welcome back to a new video here on Green Rocks' production. I am your old friend Daphne, and I am here with a little bit of a different video. You may have noticed we've been trying out a bunch of new stuff on this channel, and it's all been very fun. But today, something new and different, kind of an advice video. So if you're interested in knowing about how I sort of broke out of my creative malaise and came back to this channel more energized and invigorated, just, keep watching. So let me give you some backstory. 2016 was a terrible year. Politics was really weird, and it still is weird. The world just seemed pretty crazy and lots of terrible things happening around the world. Personally, some stuff was happening with my family that was not fun. 2016 was peak horrible for me, and I just didn't feel like making videos. I didn't feel like I had any drive or ambition to make anything creative. I felt like the stuff I was making was not great, even though I was putting a ton of work into it. I've been on YouTube off and on since 2014, and I tried a ton of different types of videos, but I just never found the thing that I really wanted to make and thought I made a good version of. I also had so many dreams and thoughts and projects I wanted to work on, and it's almost overwhelming how many things that I wanted to do. That sort of froze me in place, and I wasn't sure where to start anything, and I kind of just let everything peter out and focused on my work and my job. In 2016 I had started consulting for a company that I really loved, and I really loved the work that I'm doing for them, and I felt like I was getting a lot out of it. So I also felt like maybe I don't need to make these videos anymore because this job is my creative outlet in some ways. But now it is 2017, and starting in the spring of 2017 I forced myself out of my malaise and started making videos again. And I'm going to talk about how I did this. So I have some tips for you if you are feeling similarly uncreative, overwhelmed by the world and the possibilities, or just unorganized. So the most important thing for me was that I built myself a system that worked for me and kept me feeling like all the bits and pieces were in one place, and I wasn't letting things slip through the crack or just ignoring things and stuff like that. So there's two ways I did this. First, I used Meister, which is a sort of a mind mapping program that really helped me isolate the different parts of my life and put them in a visual representation. So this is my actual Meister that I made to do my life reorganization, as I have it titled here. So I found this really helpful. I would have done this on a whiteboard if I had one, but this just sort of was me planning out all the different things that I wanted in my life and then figuring out how they worked together. So we started with the different things I wanted to do. I wanted to continue making things, doing creative filmmaking video type stuff, doing my writing, doing my blogging, volunteering, which has not materialized but hopefully will at some point, and then doing my consulting work. None of those projects are on here because I have that sort of listed somewhere else. And that was sort of a place that I understood. So you can see I sort of figured out how everything fit together. YouTube could be part of my making stuff, and then Twitch could be part of that. So it's just like all this stuff, figuring out what I wanted to do, and doing like a little brainstorming about what types of videos I wanted to be making, and then I put little stars next to everything I actually wanted to work on. So this was really helpful in just setting the stage of what I wanted to do. So to actually get it done, I use Trello. And this is my little demo version that I put together of how I organize myself. All the details of what I actually do are in a different board, but this sort of simulates what I ended up doing. So what I have is I have a calendar that has all my meetings and stuff on it, but I felt it was really hard to put tasks in my calendar. So I've been using Trello very effectively to do that. So today is Wednesday, and what do I do sort of at the beginning of the week? I think about all the things I need to do. I put all my meetings on here, all the tasks I want to accomplish. And I'm like, today I want to film video for YouTube. So that's what I'm doing. That goes here. And then if I had different things I wanted to put it, like I can put a checklist, add a checklist, and I can say, well, first I need to do research and write, organize thoughts, charge battery, all kinds of stuff. So like you can put a checklist in, you can enter a description to see like, oh, I have like thoughts about this. If you're working with other people, you could add comments and stuff. And then you can also label it, and you're like, oh, this is going to be a thing that's for YouTube stuff. So like, let's put all our YouTube stuff as green. So you have YouTube. So it's a YouTube task. So it's going to be green. You can save that. And you can attach, if you have a document like with all your notes, you can attach that to it. So I put that here, and I'm like, what else do I want to do? Oh, I want to go to the bank. I had a meeting at 1. I had physical therapy, and so I'm just putting the things that I did. This is what I do before I actually do them. So that's my Wednesday, and then Thursday I want to edit video, and you want to make sure this is labeled as a YouTube thing. And I also use this with other people, so if I wanted to invite somebody to this board who just was like keeping my week organized, I don't know, I use this for specific projects, but you can add members, then you can assign it to, like, so I could assign this to myself. So there we go, and my little face comes up there. And of course, all this stuff is for myself. So there, and then like say, oh, I finished that thing, or I didn't end up filming this on Wednesday, I'm gonna move it to Thursday. So it's like film the video and then edit on Thursday. But then you ended up finishing it. So like, oh, I check this off, check that off, check that off, and then I move it to completed. So then I have a whole list of all the things I've done. And this is very useful. Other things I have a card or a list for the weekend, so I just throw stuff on here that I need to get done over the weekend. Things that are important that I want to remember but aren't happening this current week, I put it in this column next week. And then things that I've been like maybe putting off, and I'm like, this is not something that's important, but it needs to get done eventually, I just put that here. So like read new report from client, something like that. That is not an important thing, but it's over here. And if I'm ever sitting here thinking, oh, there's something I need to get something done, but I don't have anything on my like calendar of tasks, I'm like, and now let's read to that report from client. So this organization thing has really helped me reduce the time that I spend thinking about like all the different things I need to do and sort of feeling paralyzed by all those things, because I have it all laid out for me already, and then I just focus on the task I need to do, and it gives me time to do all these creative things that I want to do. So this has been a godsend. Thank God for Trello. So beyond having these systems, I have several tips that help me stay focused and on task and still very creative despite sort of the rigidity of my organization system. I'm a very weird person. I am very type A, but also like my mind goes all over the place and I have so many ideas. So I don't know what that says about me. It's just who I am, I guess. First step is setting goals for yourself, and they need to be achievable goals. You can say, oh, I'm gonna put a video up every single day, every day of the week. But that is not achievable if you're used to putting up like one every so often. So yeah, it's important to keep yourself accountable to some goals, but make those goals something that doesn't overwhelm you, you can actually accomplish, and when you accomplish that, it is something that's big enough that you feel like you actually did something. And for me, my goals were pretty straightforward. First, I wanted to have something up every week on my blog and YouTube channel. I wasn't sure what it was going to be, but I wanted to have a schedule for myself that got me posting once a week, sort of eased myself back into this idea of posting a video. And I have, with a couple of small exceptions, I think pretty much kept to that schedule. The second thing I really wanted to do was find a way of incorporating something I felt strongly, social good, sustainability, into the work I was doing with my blog and my videos. And if you notice the rebranding of the channel, you'll notice that I really have focused on that, and I feel really good about the direction of what I'm doing and all the stuff I'm putting out there. And related to that, it's very important to make sure that you include other people in your projects and don't just like wander off into the wilderness by yourself. Bringing on Layla to help me with this channel and work with her on making really high quality videos has been something that has reinvigorated me and given her something that she's actually really interested in doing and sort of pushed her outside her comfort zone. Finding people that you can work with or just bounce ideas off of is really important. And that is related to actually finding a community for yourself. And now this is one that I have not been so great about. I have this idea that I want to make the channel something before I share it with other people. So I've been sharing it here and there within, my various networks of people, but maybe I need to get over that idea that it needs to be perfect before I show people. So that's something I'm working on. Still a goal that, has not been accomplished yet, and that's okay. So those are the goals that I started off with at the beginning of this process, and I think that I have worked well towards some of them still need some work, but I'm really proud of that I've stayed accountable to them. My third tip is that you gotta stop beating yourself up. So it is important that you stay accountable to your goals and you stay within that time span, but you are a human being, that you're not going to be perfect, and you are not always going to achieve everything that you set out to achieve. And you need to realize that. So don't beat yourself up if you don't achieve your goal the first time. Try again, reassess your situation, make sure your goal is right for what you're trying to do, but move forward. Don't just dwell on it, just keep going. But at the same time, it's really important not to just let yourself do whatever you want. If you say you're going to do something, you have to try to make that happen. You can't just say, oh well, I ended up not doing that. Oh well, because then you're just going to float through life and never do what you want to do. That's not how I want to live my life. Maybe it is how you want to live your life. That's up to you. My next tip, a tip that is so important to me, has gotten me through life up until this point, is lists. You cannot underestimate the power of lists. The very act of just crossing something off the list and seeing all the things you've done, that is an achievement in itself. At least it is for me, and is something that I felt really strongly motivates me to keep going. Seeing all these items checked off a list, you can see what you've done, and you have proved to yourself that you can do things. And that is something that I wasn't doing when I was feeling uncreative. I was just letting ideas sort of percolate in my brain and go off into the ether. But when I sat down to organize myself, I was like, we are going to do lists again, and we're going to do them hardcore. So another thing that I recommend you do is make time for things that inspire you. If you're putting off going out and going for a run because you feel like you don't have enough time because you need to do this, 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 and this, but running always sort of like reinvigorates you and makes you feel like you have a direction because you can spend all this time thinking about all kinds of interesting things that you're planning on doing, that's something that inspires you and you shouldn't put it off. I put off like brainstorming sessions because I'm like, oh, I don't have time to do all that brainstorming. I just need to get things done. And let me do the little things I need to get done. And then maybe like at the end of the day, I'll think about brainstorming. But that has not worked for me because then I never do the brainstorming. And I never think of new ways of doing things and new opportunities and stuff like that. So I have made sure that I have set aside time for myself to focus on those things that make me feel more creative, sort of get me going in the right direction and just inspire me to do all kinds of awesome things. Conversely, I recommend stopping doing things that you're just doing out of habit if they don't have any real purpose in your life. Like there are all these TV shows I was watching because I always watched those TV shows and I was getting bored with them, but I kept watching them because I was like, oh, I have to watch these shows because they're the shows that I watch. When you stop doing that, all the time that you have to do things that actually make you happy and inspire you and keep you feeling like a human, you have time for those things, and it's really quite a magical thing. So something that I think a lot about is this idea of fear of missing out. It is something that I suffer from because well, first of all, I'm a completionist. If I start watching a series, I need to see it from the beginning. I need to see all the movies in a series. I need to see all the TV shows. And if I don't, I feel like I'm missing something. I don't understand what's going on. So that sort of is translated to like the world in general. It's like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Oh my God. And it just makes me like an anxious ball of nerves. So I've really, over the past few months, trying to step back. I've really focused on trying to find the things that I actually enjoy and living in the moment and enjoying those and not worrying about the things that I'm missing because I'm enjoying this moment. You can focus on one thing and not lose track of doing other things. And that's where my organization comes in and makes me feel like FOMO is not as big a deal as it was. My final tip is just talk to people. When I was in my sad 2016 period, I was, talking to my family, but not talking to many of my friends, just, wallowing in my own, despair about the world. And one of the things I did over the past few months is I reconnected with a bunch of people that are important in my life, and I'm really happy that they are my friends. And I just found it very invigorating speaking with people that I haven't been speaking with and, trying what they do to, deal with the world as in its craziness. So those are my tips for getting back into the swing of things. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have other tips that I didn't cover, put them in the comments below. I would love to hear them, and let me know if any of this is helpful or if it's just me rambling to my camera, because sometimes that's what it is. But I really do hope it was helpful. If you do like these type of videos, let me know by pressing the thumbs up button. Coming up, we have a lot of new and interesting different types of videos. Next week, we have the second part of the Juice Beauty review and talking about their sustainability and their social good stuff. So that's coming up next Saturday. Coming up after that, we have a book that we're going to do a little book club on. We have some fun discussions about grad school and why we went to them. We're going to be looking at some other sustainable natural products, and we actually, I think we'll be looking into some of those home cooking delivery service things and seeing if we like the service and looking into their sustainability to see if that is actually a sustainable model for delivering foods to the people. So that is it for today. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing to this channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now.